It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog.
Hello and welcome to Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your host, Uncle Roy. Well, today I'm going to do some very healthy cooking and coming up too in future episodes. Today we're going to be working on sugar-free baking. Oh, right up my alley. Treats for us diabetics. And not just diabetics, anybody could eat these. It's just a reduced sugar or no sugar at all type of cooking. So, in our mixer first, we're going to be doing 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And again, as always, you want to take and level these off, because even the slightest excess, a teaspoon, will dry out your products and make them tough and harder. So we don't want that. Level that off. So we have 1.5 cups of the flour. And then next we're going to be doing 1/2 cup of Splenda. And so this is like Splenda. And we put that right in. I just level it off on the inside of my bag. I do that with powdered sugar, brown sugar, etc. Then you don't have to level it off. It just makes it sweet and tidy and clean up quick. You don't have an extra cleanup. And then we're also going to be needing 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And you know the trick on that is to take and mix it up if you haven't used it in a long time. And I'm not baking as often as I used to, so I'm going to mix mine up. And we put that right in, put 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And that is true, it gets deactivated if it just sits there for a long time. So mix it up. And I like to take and use a wire whisk and put that, just mix that up right up in the bowl here. Or you turn on your mixer too. But I like the wire whisk because it helps to break up the lumps. And it makes it blend in so much nicer. It aerates it, you know. Alrighty. Now to this we're going to be adding 1/4 cup of softened margarine. And I'm using butter because I want more flavor. But you could do, for more, if you're really counting calories, you can do margarine instead of butter. I just like the flavor. And then we're going to also need 2 eggs. Those right in there. Also we need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And let's add some to 1. And we're also going to be needing 1/2 cup of half and half. Give it a little shake of it. And we're using half and half. You could use whole milk if you wanted, or 2% milk. But we're just using half and half so there's not as many calories as whole milk. But you still want that creamy texture. And now we're going to take and just mix this up until it's well blended. And it'll be just about 30 seconds or so. Run low. All over the place. There. You don't want to over mix it. I'll keep it in there a long time, like 30 seconds or so, just to blend it up, mix it together. Because if you have it on too long, it's going to batter. It's going to activate the gluten in the flour, and that'll give you a tough cake. Now we'll just take our spray and spray an 8-inch square pan. Now this is our batter. And it's a rather lumpier batter, thicker. So we want to take and put this right into our 8-inch pan. And we're going to take and spread this evenly around the pan, and as much as I can. Oops, apple. Ooh, sugary. Ooh, this is gonna be tasty. And I have my oven preheated on 350 degrees, your normal temperature. Another trick I've learned: spray the back of a spoon. That's going to keep the batter from sticking to your spoon, and it helps to make it easier to spread this around. Because like just a rubber spatula everything clings to it. If you sprayed it, I'm sure it wouldn't. And see, I'm just spreading this around. It just helps it to keep it from sticking. And just spread that around. If you want to spray your hands and pat it down, you can do that too, I suppose. All right. Now we'll just put this in the oven, and we're going to bake this for 15 minutes at 350 degrees. And I'll set my Death Star timer here. And the Death Star, see, blinking. 15 minutes, and we'll be right back. Hey, Kutchen. Little cover there so you don't melt or burn the countertop. Now, this is the partially baked Kutchen. Now, we're going to cover this with our sugar-free strawberry preserves. And you could use a sugar-free can of pie filling if you'd like, if you could find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. Believe me, I looked. And we'll just take and slide this over to the side. And circle. Set up for the next step. And this is going to be our topping. Now in your processor, we're going to have a 1/4 cup of flour, a teaspoon, of a teaspoon, half teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 cup of your Splenda, and 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of margarine. And you want that cold because we're making a streusel. And I just cut this up into small, little teeny tiny squares. I just cut off my tablespoon and teaspoon size, and then just cut that up into little squares. So this way it's going to process easier. It's not going to be so hard for the machine to dice that up for you. And then we'll just pulse this until it gets crumbly. And take a look at that. There we go. And that's nice and crumbly. See? And this now, we're going to take and just generously spread this all over the top of your Kutchen. And now, we can bake this for an additional 10 to 15 minutes until it's done. And remember to insert your toothpick, and when it comes out clean, it's done. Alrighty. And that's going to be our sugar-free strawberry Kutchen. So it go 10 to 15 minutes. Now that's a 5-minute gap, so that means we'll set it for 10, test it, and if it needs to go in more, it can. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Because remember, ovens vary, so you always want to bake at the minimal time to test things, and then you can always add in more minutes if you need to. If you go past that minimum time, 10 to 15, if you did 15 and you overbake it because your oven might be hotter, you're going to destroy it and burn it and everything else. So always start your minimum. You can always bake longer. You can't take it out and, if you overbake, it's past that point, you can't start it over unless you do the whole batch, you know what I mean? That's a big waste. So we'll take about 10 minutes. Okay. Now this is our strawberry Kutchen. Isn't that great? Mmm, sugar-free. And when it comes out after 30 minutes, you want to make sure you put it on the cooling rack to cool for completely 30 minutes before you cut into it. Otherwise, you want it to set, and that jam inside the filling is going to be really hot. So you want to make sure it cools down, you don't burn the roof of your mouth. And then we'll just take and cut into our Kutchen. Mmm, sugar-free. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, yummy, yummy. Ooh, gooey, gooey. Mmm. Ooh. See? Got a nice strawberry filling to it, coming all around, all over. Nice cake. Moist, very moist. Mmm. Sugar-free. Ooh. I'll be patty. I'll make a big dent out of this. This isn't sugar-free. I know I will. It's really good. So we hope you enjoy this little recipe for a sugar-free strawberry Kutchen cooking or baking with Splenda. Enjoy. Okay, now we're going to continue on with another Splenda baking moment. Next we're going to be making apple pie cheesecake bars. Oh my lord. Seven to heaven. I'm so happy that I found that Splenda cookbook. Oh my god, I'm just going crazy making all my stuff at home now using Splenda, and explains it better. So first we're going to need 1 1/4 cups of instant oatmeal. And you want to use the instant because as it dissolves and bakes, it forms the crust, whereas whole oats will take and crumble apart on you. So that's why you use instant. And then we're going to be using 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. So make sure that you take and level that off, because even the slightest amount of excess of flour, like a teaspoon or so, will take and dry out your product and make it tougher and harder. And you don't want that. You want to have, softer, fluffier baking products. That's a big mistake a lot of people do, is putting in excess flour, and that's what makes it all dry. Then we're going to be using 3/4 cup of Splenda. And this we can just level off on the inside of the bag, just rub it against the side. Half a cup and 1/4, make 3. And I want to use 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. This is going to help just make a little leavening to the crust. It isn't too hard and flat. 3/4 cup butter. I'm going to take and just pulse this up a little bit first. Just mix that up a little bit. And then I have a 1/3 cup cold butter. And I took and I diced this up into small little pieces, little cubes, just so it's easier for the machine to mix together. And you want that cold. And then we'll just pulse this up until mix this up until it's crumbly like cornmeal. All right. Buzz going over. All right, now we're gonna take and reserve a 1/2 cup of that mixture. But first I have an 8x8 pan. Don't spray yourself like I did. You want to spray your pan first. And we're going to take out, we're going to put all this in the pan. And I want to reserve a 1/2 cup of the mixture from the crust here, and we're saving that later for a streusel topping. But the rest of this we can take and put into a pan, and then we're going to just take and press this down. And we have a 350-degree oven. It's preheated. I already have that on. And you just press this into the bottom of the pan. And we'll put this in the oven for approximately, about 10 minutes. And then we'll take that out and continue on with the filling and stuff. Now we're going to be starting out making our filling for the bars. And for this we need 2 packages of cream cheese softened. And my kitchen, my house, he has it so cold. I got to take and soften this up. So I just put it in the microwave for about 20 to 30 seconds. I don't want to melt it, I just want to soften it up. Because that makes it so much easier to whip together then. And so I'm just going to take and whip this up just for about 30 seconds to get it going. Just to break it up. Pretty good. See, when it's soft, it's going to whip up together. When it's more like soft and butter, like margarine, like shortening, you want it soft, you want it all break up. You don't want the hard chunks in there. And then to this, we're going to be adding 2 eggs. And then also to this, we're going to be adding a 1/2 cup of the Splenda. 1/2 cup full. I'll just use a 1/4 cup twice. 1/4. 1/2. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And we'll put this right in there. And then you just want to mix this up until they're thoroughly mixed. And then don't forget to take and scrape down the sides of your bowl, because that cream cheese is going to stick to the sides of the bowl. We want to incorporate these eggs and cream cheese thoroughly. And don't forget to get the bottom of your divot on these KitchenAids. The bottom of your mixing bowl has a little divot in there, a little indentation. And sometimes, well, a lot of times, your ingredients get stuck down in there, so your leavening agents, etc., are all at the bottom. You want to make sure this thoroughly mixed in together. just let this go until it's really nice and creamy, like fluffy. Okay, now that's thoroughly mixed. It'll take a couple minutes. You want to get this, so you get a nice and light, fluffy mixture, like that. Almost like a thick frosting. And we're going to scrape down the sides of the bowl, which we did. And scrape off my beater. Because now we're going to take and stir in the other ingredients. And I have 1 cup of diced apple. You want to use a tart apple because we got the sweetness from the Splenda. A 1/2 cup of raisins. And I got my 1/2 cup full. I got a 1/4 cup. And another 1/4 cup. Another tip too with your raisins, if you keep them in the refrigerator, they're so much easier to get out. If you keep them at room temperature and you got a warm house, they're going to be all stuck together if you keep them in the cupboard. So just keep them in the refrigerator or a cool place, closet, whatever, and they break apart and come out much nicer, easier. And then we just mix this together. I'm going to stir this in because we don't want to take it, mash up the apples and the raisins into chunks and pieces. That's why you got to mix it in by hand. Okay, and then we have our partially baked crust here. Okay, and we just pour our mixture right over the crust. Ooh, all for it. Like sugar free. Oh, this looks good. And then we want to spread this mixture evenly. And now we have our crumb mixture, which I need another little bowl. So in this now, we'll put in that 1/2 cup of the reserve mixture that we had, along with a 1/4 cup of instant oatmeal. And then we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of Splenda. Scrape that off on the side of the bowl, of the bag inside. Even. And this. A teaspoon of apple pie spice. And if you don't have that, you can do, pumpkin pie spice, whatever. Basically, it's all the same. It's just combinations of cinnamons and nutmegs and allspices. You got a teaspoon of apple pie spice. And we'll take and whisk this together a little bit. That smells good. And this goes over the top of our cheesecake. Ooh. Boy, is it going to be good, Callie. Too bad you're not here. I know, she'd be drooling right now. Okay, got that. And then, what I'm doing is taking your spray, butter flavored spray, whatever, and just lightly spray the top. You want to coat that. This is going to take an aid in the browning of the topping. Because you're using Splenda, in there, you're not going to have the browning effect like you would with regular sugar. So you want to take and lightly spray with a cooking spray, and that'll take and help brown the topping in. And now we're going to bake this in our 350 oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. And when that's done, we take it out and let it cool on a wire rack completely before we cut into bars. We don't want to cut in while it's warm because that's going to smear the bars. We want it to get set, so let that cool completely. And then we'll have our apple pie cheesecake bars. 30 minutes. Ooh. Okay, and these are our apple pie cheesecake bars. Ooh. Now remember, you have to let this cool completely before we cut in. And eggs and cut these. And of course, that first one is always the worst to get out. And I'm cutting these into 4x4, 16 pieces. And these are cool. I think they might just a slight warm, so they might not come out completely. We're going to try here. There we are. Ooh. You remember when I was a kid, and when I went into town, we didn't have cable out in the country, but they did in town. And I remember watching the shows from Minneapolis back in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, and watching the Casey Jones show. And he used to have those Stewart sandwiches, you know, he's popped in the microwave, and then he always used to take the sandwich and come up to you and go, ooh, taste it. That's what reminds me of. So, you can see we have our lovely cheesecake. Look at that, with all the apples and the raisins in there. Sugar-free. Take a taste of this. And like I said, you want it to set completely before serving it. And this came out nice. But one thing I love about cheesecake, it has to be cold. I love it. Cream cheese, you want that, keep it cold. Go put that in the refrigerator. You know, nice treats and snacks for later on. So thank you for watching our edition of Sugar-Free Baking with Splenda. Hope to see you again soon. So eat healthy, be safe, and spread the sunshine. Bye-bye.